when, and you always, to me, were always almost overscheduled in terms of all the things you had to do. When are you going to start moving around again the way you used to?
Well, I want to set a good example. If you're vaccinated, you can still transmit. It's not as likely, but unlike severe disease that is becomes extremely rare, you still have a possibility of transmission. So, I'm not going to stop wearing masks or, be careful, particularly around older people who haven't been vaccinated. And, of course, I'm with my family a lot who, they're young enough that they're not yet vaccinated. So, it's only by late spring or summer that we're going to get to numbers where you can look at changing your behavior in a significant way.
Okay, so but help us. If you were looking at a calendar now and you had to talk to your assistant and say, okay, we on this date is when we're going to start thinking about whether we make a trip here, whether we go here, whether we start having meetings. What day or month does that look like for Bill Gates?
Well, an important issue is getting the vaccine not just to the rich countries, but to all countries, and that's a huge role that the investments and efforts of the Gates Foundation have involved in. We've, started up factories in India that are very high volume, and so global travel will still, you'll have to be careful till sometime in 2022 because of this inequity that the vaccines aren't getting out there. In the US, the supply situation is getting good. The logistics are okay. We still don't know if the demand, that is the trust that people want to take the vaccine, including in people of color who have some skepticism about the health system. We need to get very high levels of vaccination before the transmission levels will drop to near zero. But I'm hopeful we'll get there. And I'd say domestically in the US, people will be able to do more, still wearing masks in the right situations and still not, big full stadiums. But by summer, things will feel very different. And schools in the fall, I would expect that basically all schools will be open.
Okay, but I have small kids. I think, and I don't know, I'm curious what you think. I think they're going to be in school in the fall. They're in school now, actually, wearing masks. But I think they'll be in school in the fall wearing masks again, or not.
Well, wearing masks isn't some huge disastrous thing. There's some places where when I play tennis, they have me wear a mask and I pocket my glasses, but even that's not a big deal. So, it's not expensive. We're kind of used to it. I would continue to model that behavior throughout the fall until we're absolutely sure the numbers are very, very small.
And how much do you worry, though, about potentially either the South African variant spreading or the fall and winter being tougher? I had a conversation with Dr. Scott Gottlieb the other day, who was saying, we might have a nice spring and summer, but it might get more complicated again.
Well, he's absolutely right that this is a seasonal disease, and that'll be the test. Is there a fall wave? I don't think there will be, but it depends on getting those vaccination levels up and helping the other countries so we're not having constant reintroductions. Your point about the variant's a very good one. Our foundation was funding studies in South Africa as that variant appeared. Now, we didn't know that would happen. We funded those studies so that there was some safety data from the continent of Africa and so that we could do studies that included people living with HIV. But it ended up informing the world for 3 of the vaccines, AstraZeneca, Novavax, and Johnson & Johnson, how the effectiveness was against that variant. And, it didn't reduce the Johnson & Johnson and Novavax by much, AstraZeneca a little more. So the fact we had that trial there was very helpful to say, okay, do we need to tune the vaccine, which, might mean a 3rd dose for people already vaccinated? And the companies are hard at work looking at that. And do they need to do multiple varieties? How do we cover the full set of variants that are showing up in the world, which fortunately mostly have common features And so it looks, this isn't like a disease where you'll need a 10 valent vaccine with 10 different forms. At most, it'll be 2 or 3.